Hello everyone, this is Tim McDaniel, the Financial Stud. I help low and middle income families establish credit and manage money so they can make their financial dreams a reality. Now today, we're going to be covering credit restoration and actually the process and the inside secrets behind repairing your credit. Okay, now a lot of people, including myself, has in the past had issues with their credit. Maybe they wanted, or maybe like for example myself, I wanted to, when I first got my car, my real car, the car that I didn't get from the auction, that wouldn't break down on me. When I wanted to finance a car that from a dealer, right, I had to pretty much qualify for financing. And what they did was they looked at my credit to see what I qualified for, if I qualified, right? And because at the time in which I qualified for my car, and this was probably the second year of my college year, you can pretty much guess that my credit wasn't the best. And so I paid 22% interest on my car financing loan. So I got my car, I put down $2,500. The car was about $7,000, but with all the finance charges, I ended up paying about $11,000 for the car. And so, as you can see, your credit costs you a lot of money, especially when it's not up to par. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about ways you can increase your credit by actually going through some inside secrets on how to remove items on your credit report. Are you ready? Good. All right. Now, before we start, I just want to give kind of a statement about what we're going to be covering. Okay. It's kind of I just want to let you know I'm a patriot. I love my country. I care about my country, and I want my country, America. I have the American flag behind me, and I want you to know that you should pay your bills. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about a lot of different things that I could get a lot of backlash from, especially creditors, people who actually lend people credit for certain things. They really don't like this information getting out because a lot of times when somebody owes them something, and in hopes of recouping the credit that they lended to someone, they put a mark on your credit report in the hopes that you're going to pay it off because you don't want your credit to remain low due to having past due credits on your account. But I'm going to actually show you how to remove items on your report. Now, I want to tell you this. If you legitimately owe somebody something, if you legitimately have a Sprint bill or a mortgage or a bankruptcy or a judgment, or you have some kind of retail card that you owe, I recommend paying it, right? Nevertheless, I'm going to show you a way that those things can get off your credit report by following my inside secrets, credit repair secrets. Okay, so I just want you to know, especially for those creditors out there, I don't want you to think that I'm telling people not to pay their bills. You should pay your bills, okay? But the Financial Stud Company focus is not the creditors, okay? So just point blank. But I do want to offer that disclaimer, all right? The Financial Stud focuses on low and middle income families, okay? And so mostly low and middle income families, they find it difficult to get capital, to get credit, to access certain things because they don't have the income to pay off maybe some of their debt. Okay, so I'm here for the low income families. I'm here for the middle class, okay? So I'm going to be giving some real juicy stuff. So I hope you got your notebook and a pen to write down some notes, because I don't want us to waste our time today. I really think that you're going to take a lot of information. I usually say I hope you get about 1 to 2 nuggets for my trainings, but today I really think you're going to get at least 3 nuggets, okay, from this discussion. Now, let's talk about credit repair. Now, when you pull up your credit, okay, when was the last time you checked your credit? Now, if it wasn't this year, right, if it wasn't in 2012, then I want to let you know you can actually check your credit for free. All right, you can either attain your free credit report online, or you can get a free copy through the mail. All right, the easiest way is to go online, to go to annualcreditreport.com. Once again, that's annualcreditreport.com. Okay, you go there, you put your personal information, and then you choose which credit bureau that you want to get your free report from. I recommend getting only one report at a time. Okay, it's not really necessary to get all 3 bureaus at once. For some reasons, for some circumstances, it is. It'd be great to get all 3 of your credit reports at once. Okay, but strategy-wise, I recommend getting one free credit report from a different bureau every 3 months. Okay, so for example, if you get one credit report for free, the Equifax in March, right? Then you get the second one from Experian in June. Then you get the third one in September, right? You get your TransUnion report. Now, obviously, we're already in October, so if you didn't follow that, you can throw it out the window, that's okay. But for next year, for 2013, you can definitely follow this strategy, and it'll allow you to really, use the fact that you can get a free credit report from each bureau. Okay, now let's start from the basics. What is a credit report? Now, a credit report consists of, a credit report consists of a credit score. Okay, depending on what scoring guide you're using, if you're using the most commonly used credit score, which is the FICO score, and that's the Fair Isaac credit something. Okay, I'll give you the information. Don't worry, it's not in my mind right now. But anyway, it's the FICO score. Okay, the FICO score is scored from 300 to 800. All right, so usually, and I don't really see people with 300. Usually, if you're over 18, usually going to be around 500, right? That's usually the lowest I've seen, is 500. Worst case scenario, somebody had a bankruptcy, they really have some difficult times, then in that case you will see 400s or so, okay? But most of the time, you're going to see from 500 to 800, okay, on your credit score. Now, let's I want to give you an idea of your score. Now, most people, why does your score matter? Now, your score matter for the example I gave in the beginning of this video. If you want to finance a car, if you want to buy a home, if you want to access a credit card, if you want to take something out on credit, such as a TV, whatever it is, right? Your credit is looked at, right? They check your credit, they see if you qualify for it, and then they offer it to you if you qualify. Now, let's talk numbers. Now, to qualify for right now for a home, right? If you're a first-time home buyer, all you need is a 620. Okay, depending on the lender you're using, it's usually from 620 to about 680. All right, so if you have a 680, then more than likely you can qualify for a home today. All right, so if you don't have a 680 and you're looking to qualify for a loan, then I'm going to definitely show you some ways that you can increase your score very fast. Now, let's talk more about some numbers. Now, if you were a business, or you wanted to start a business, or you have this outstanding idea and you needed some capital, so you can invest in your business or your business idea. And say you needed $100,000. Guess what? If you have a 700 or higher credit score, I can easily show you a way you can access a couple $100,000 for your business, a business credit. Now, a lot of people may say, wow, I don't believe that, $100,000, but that's really not a lot of money if you have a 700 credit score, okay? You can actually get a lot more than that, but that's pretty accessible for you if you have a 700 credit score, you know, and you needed access to business capital, all right? Now that we covered numbers, all right, let's talk about your credit report. Now, let me also tell you that there's a difference between your credit score and what's on your credit, okay? There are several different variables that make your credit score. And I'll just get some information to go over some of those items. All right. So, your payment history. Your payment history makes the biggest percentage of your credit score. It's about 40% of your score. All right. So if you have been late 30 days in the last 12 months, then 40% of your credit score is going to be affected by your payment history. All right. Now, not only that, is your active credit accounts, your active open accounts. Okay, so the amount of accounts that you should have open in any given time is at minimum 3. Okay, so if you have 3 active open accounts, then that's good for you. Okay, that's about another 20% of your score. Now, another 15%. I don't want to talk percentages too much, just because we have different scoring models, and you know, they switched up a lot, and so these are just general numbers so you can understand the proportion. So the next item is kind of, they call it the utilization of your credit. So say those 3 accounts that you have open of credit cards, or you know, different revolving credit that you're using at the time. Now say you have a $1,000 credit card. Okay. Now the utilization means that how much of that $1,000 are you using? Now your credit, your score is affected depending on how much of it that you're using. You want to stay under 20%. Okay. Ideally 10% is a great proportion of your utilization to maintain an active and recurring good scoring for your credit utilization. I recommend 20%, no more than that. Okay, if it's more than 20%, then it starts to negatively affect your credit score. All right. Now, those are, I would say, the biggest things that affect your credit score. Now, let's talk about the fun stuff, right? We talked about all the basics of credit score, what is a credit score, why is a credit score important, right? How is your score determined, right? We talked about all of that. Now let's go into, okay, if you do have trouble with your credit, how can we get some of that stuff removed off your credit? Is that something you guys want to get into? See? All right. I'm just making sure. Now, let's talk these strategies. Now, like I said, I can get a little backlash because of this information, so I just want you to know that I'm putting myself on the line to empower you to make your financial dreams a reality. And I really hope you appreciate that. All right? Now, this is the process, okay? I just want to talk about the process a little bit before I cover some gritty details. Now, you check your credit report. Go to annualcreditreport.com, right? You pull your credit, your Experian. I recommend getting your Experian above anything else. That should be the first thing you get, because that usually has everything. All right, so you get your Experian report, and you see you have 3 items that's negatively affecting your credit report. Now, let's say it's a late payment, right? Say you have some late payments, or maybe it's a collection. Maybe you owed and you haven't paid in a long time, and now they sent you to a collection company and you have a charge-off, right? Say you had a bankruptcy. Who's had a bankruptcy? Even if you had a bankruptcy, we can help you. Now, Also, say if you had several inquiries on your credit report. Now, I know that's kind of the most common thing that happens to people when they try to access credit. You know, they apply for a certain car or a home, right? And they apply, and get no's. And, you know, that negatively affects their credit score. So they end up, you know, with 20, 30, 50% lower score, you know, before they get a yes. You know, and that's really not the way you want to go about it. And so if you have an inquiry, if you have tons of inquiries, you can also get that stuff taken off. So say if you had a late payment, a collection, a bankruptcy, foreclosure, right? How many people lost their home in foreclosure, right? We can help you get that stuff off your credit report. If you had a repossession, right? If you had your car taken. Student loans. Now that's the most difficult one to really work with. Student loans are what they call secure debt. All right, so that's a real important item for you to understand. There's two types of debt that goes on your credit, right? You have a secured and you have a unsecured. Most items are going to be unsecured. Student loans are what they call secured loans. And secured loans pretty much means that you're going to have to deal with that debt for the rest of your life until you get it paid off. So we don't know what's going to happen, if that's going to remain that way. You know, I know the Obama presidency has been doing a lot of work to try to help students in their loans. I actually still am paying off my student loan, and so I'm, you know, I'm still waiting to kind of see what kind of resources and strategies that we can utilize to really benefit from whatever policies that they put in place. So most items on your report is going to be unsecured. So unsecured we can deal with, and these strategies are mostly going to be for unsecured. If you have secured items, then you know that's a more sophisticated thing, and we definitely going to have to talk one-on-one because that's something that we're all working through right now. Now, if you have any of those items on your credit report and you need to get them off, this is what you do, right? You get your credit report, and what you want to do, you want to circle the item that is negatively affecting your report. So let's say you owe Alliance Management $6,000.24, right? Let's not say 24 cents. Let's make this simple. If you owe Alliance Management $6,000, right, and they say that your original creditor was a credit card company. So say you had a Bank of America credit card and they took you into collections, and now Alliance Management is now collecting from you. Now, that's what's going to be shown on your credit report, right? Whether it's the original creditor or it's the collection company, whichever one, it doesn't matter. This is the process of going about getting it taken off. The first thing you want to do is send a letter to the original creditor to verify the proof of debt. Okay? Now, I actually have a template for you to use that you can send out to the original creditor. Alright? Here's an example of one. Right? If you want a copy, email me at tmcdaniel@financialstud.com. Alright? So, you send a letter to the original creditor asking them to prove the debt, right? And let me just read it out to you. Dear Dear Credit Bureau, I am writing to dispute the account referenced above. I have disputed this account information is inaccurate with the credit bureaus. So, right there, let's stop for a second. Before you send this to the original creditor, what you want to do is actually send a letter to the credit bureaus. And the credit bureaus are the ones that's keeping the bad debt, the bad information on your credit report. Okay? So you can either send it to the creditor first or to the credit bureaus first. It doesn't matter. I really recommend sending them simultaneously. Okay? So I tell them anyway that I'm sending a dispute to the credit bureaus, whether it's the same day or you're gonna send or you sent it already. All right, and you have been able to and you have been unable to verify this debt. How is this possible? I was not late, or you could say this is not my account. Whatever the situation, right? You tell them what the issue is and why you're asking for them to prove your debt. It really doesn't matter why, what's your reason. You could just say, I want you to prove this debt because this debt doesn't belong to me, right? And they're legally responsible to providing proof that you owe the debt. Now, and that's according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, all right? So that's a federal law. Now, what you do, you send this letter to the creditor telling them that you need to prove this debt, and what they got to do, they got to provide you with your name, they got to provide you with the original signature of you signing for the debt. They pretty much have to provide you with a lot of information. Like I said, I'll provide you with the template you can use so you can make sure that they're providing you with everything. Because if they don't, then you send them another letter and say, you're missing this, please provide this, or else you're going to have to remove this item off of my credit report. And if they don't, then you get to legally sue, right? And they don't want that because you will win. They have 30 days to respond, all right? So you send a letter to the creditor, right? You send a letter to them. Now you send a letter to the credit bureaus, right? This is what you send to the credit bureaus. I actually have another template here that you can also use by emailing me at tmcdaniel@financialstud.com, right? Now, this is called Dispute Letter 1, right? And I have several templates. I probably have about 10 templates of Dispute Letter 1s, right? And just to kind of give you an idea of where we're going with this, you're going to send, you want to send, most times you go about this, you're going to send about 3 letters, okay? So that's why I'm calling this Dispute Letter 1, right? This is the first letter you send, right? And pretty much you're saying, hey, I'm writing to inform you this information is not right. You provide them with the creditor's name, your account number, right? And you tell them what's wrong with it. You can say, hey, I was never late on this payment. What are you talking about? I've never seen this account before. It does not belong to me. Whatever the case, you put that under the creditor, the account number, and then you put your reason, right? It doesn't have to be spelled out, but the more the better, right? And you let them know, you say, hey, I need you to confirm this debt. I need you to confirm this, right? And you let them know that they have 30 days to respond. All right? Now, if they don't respond within 30 days, then they have to legally take it off. Or you can sue, and you will win. All right? So, you send the report out to the creditor. So now they're in their offices trying to dig through paperwork, trying to find you, right? Now, in the credit bureaus, they're digging in their paperwork. Really, they're typing on their computer because the credit bureaus have a new system called the e-Oscar system, and what they do is you send a letter to them, and all they do is scan it through this big scanner called the e-Oscar system, right? And then they try to trace the information if they can find it or not, right? And so then they respond. They say they either can find it or they can't find it. If they can't find it, then congratulations, you have successfully removed a negative item off your credit report, right? Great job. Now, if they can find it, then they're going to send you a letter back. They're going to say, they're either going to say, I need this information in order to prove, because they try to find ways to kind of discourage you in your attempt to remove the item. So I've seen a lot of things. I've seen them ask one of my clients for their Social Security card. Who asked for that kind of things? And I have letters that if they do ask for something crazy, right, you send letter number 2 telling them and I have different laws, right? And you pretty much let them know, like, hey, this isn't a reasonable investigation, right? And you say, since you obviously did not investigate this account thoroughly enough the last time I submitted one, right? You let them know, hey, you have another 30 days to respond with an adequate response. And please do not put my letter in an e-Oscar system and tell me that this is insidious or this is not a good dispute, right? Because they try to make you seem like you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so don't let them make you feel you don't know what you're talking about. I don't care if you don't have any of these templates, right? I actually have a template of one of the letters I help one of my clients write, right? This is a handwritten letter, right? I actually have an example of this. If you want a copy, email me, tmcdaniel@financialstud.com. It pretty much says, Dear sir or madam, I am so frustrated. This is now the third time I have written asking you to please correct my credit report. The item circled on the credit report, and remember, I said circle it on your credit report, because what you want to do, you want to make a copy of the report that has the negative items, and you want to send that along with your letter. Okay, that's very important. Because if you don't, then they're going to say, hey, this is a template, I heard this before, is this some kind of company just sending out templates, trying to get stuff off your credit report, and it really should be on there. So don't let them play that game on you. So make sure you send your credit report with the circled items on there as well, along with your letter. Okay. So you say the items circled on the attached credit report are still wrong. Why haven't you fixed these things? Right. I have made 3 requests for the same thing now. If you don't fix them this time, I will have no choice but to file a lawsuit in small claims court, which I will do, I promise. Please update my credit report to either eliminate these items or have them show paid in full, never late. Alright? So this is an actual letter, and guess what they did? They removed it fast, okay? And they respond to certain different requests. Sometimes, you can write a mad letter. Sometimes you can write a nice letter and they respond. The credit bureaus are so hard to really work with, because they're in business to kind of have these items on your report. Most companies, they don't report good things that you pay for, like, you pay for your rent every month. You pay for your gas or utilities every month, and that's good. That shows you pay your bills. But guess what? They don't report that on your credit report. Why don't they do that? Right? Because they don't make the industry doesn't make money off of that. Right? They make money off people having terrible credit scores and getting high interest rate loans or credit cards or financing things that with high interest rates. And the company makes more money because of that, right? If I had a 700 plus credit score when I financed my $7,000 car, I'll be paying more, about $8,000 than the $11,000 that I paid, okay? And that's just one example. Now, I've actually read you a couple different letters, so I kind of skipped a little bit. Now, you send the first letter, right? They either respond with saying, okay, we remove these items, or they respond saying, we were able to verify this debt, right, and nothing has changed. Now, if they send you something like that, and they say nothing has changed because they were able to verify it, I have a letter for that. Okay? I have a letter for that, right? So if they say, hey, I was able to prove this, you owe this debt, right? And we're not changing anything. Guess what? They still didn't win yet. You're still in the game. Okay? Now this is the area where I don't want people to say, oh man, I can't believe it. You mean to tell me I owe somebody $15,000 and I can get that mess